2020 sure has been a year for the books, and I wish we all had some kind of warning about what was going to happen. While I'm not a fortune teller, I have learned from my past mistakes, and I personally would love a heads up on any sort of tomfoolery that 2021 has in store. On today's most amazing top 10 list, I'm going to be taking a look at some dark cartoon moments of the past that could be giving us a peek into our future. Starting off this list, in our number 10 spot, we have this year's Halloween episode of The Simpsons. In the episode, we see Homer at the voting poll and he begins to hesitate on who to vote for. Of course, this is followed by a Trump joke before we see Homer waking up and we realize it was all a dream and Homer actually missed the vote. Homer's lack of acknowledgement for his civic duty frustrates Marge, and then Homer asks, how bad could it be? We then cut to Inauguration Day, January 20th, 2021, and we see that we are in a full-blown apocalypse. Homer is sitting on a roof in armor, holding a gun. Springfield is burning around him, and 4 skeleton horsemen fly past through the sky with banners that say pestilence, famine, and war. By now we all know how good the writers are at predicting the future, but let's really hope this is one that doesn't come true. In our number 9 spot today, we have the DreamWorks show Cleopatra in Space. Before I get into this one, guys, make sure you hit that little thumbs up if you're liking the video so far, because it really helps us out. The show is basically about Cleopatra as a teenager, but it takes place way in the future from when the real Cleopatra lived. It also takes place on another planet that we have inhabited, where there are a lot of ancient Egyptian themes. While I don't think the show is predicting that we are going to live out Cleopatra's teenage years again, could it be possible that they are predicting our future on another planet? With Elon Musk and SpaceX and all of his plans, this really does become more of a possible reality every day. If we did inhabit another planet, would we bring the technology we have now? Or would we be starting from scratch and going back to a sort of civilization that is closer to how things were in ancient Egypt? Let me know what you guys think life would be like if we moved to another planet. Moving on down to number 8, we have the new Disney movie Soul, which was screened at the 2020 BFI London Film Festival and is set to be released on Disney Plus on December 25th of this year. Basically, the movie is about a man who is a music teacher. He finds himself in some sort of mishap which causes him to begin a great journey into what the movie calls the Great Before. The Great Before is this sort of cosmic realm where souls are born. The movie is about seeing how we become who we are. But it has me wondering, will there one day be a time where we can travel to cosmic realms? Will we one day be able to separate what makes us from our bodies? It's honestly kind of too much to handle and really depends on how you view the world and all living beings, but it is something to think about. Anything is possible. In our number 7 spot today, we have a Futurama moment. When Fry first meets Bender, he is trying to take his own life in some sort of suicide booth. In the show, these booths are mass-produced and are just on the street for anyone who wants to go in and end it all. While physician-assisted suicide is legal in Canada, the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, and more recently in 9 US states, it still isn't recognized throughout the world, but it is being talked about more than ever. With the increase of people understanding this method and voting in favor of it, could we be moving toward a future where it really could be that simple to make such a huge decision? You could just walk into a booth and take your own life? I can certainly see the benefits to physician-assisted suicide and understand why it is being discussed, but I don't think I would feel comfortable with suicide booths just hanging out around on the streets. If you feel suicidal, please don't forget to reach out for help. Everyone has people around them who love them and who care about them, and you are not alone. Continuing on to number 6, we have the Sony animated Connected, which was originally titled The Mitchells vs. Machines. The movie was set for a September 18th release, but of course had to be pushed back due to the global pandemic we are all living through. The movie follows the Mitchell family, where one of the children, Katie, gets accepted into the film school of her dreams. The entire family decides to pack up the car and bring her to school together. On their little family road trip, they realize that there is a technology uprising and the family has to battle to try and save themselves and the world. There have been plenty of movies in the past that have also predicted some sort of AI takeover, so is this becoming a near reality? Are our Roombas going to be turning on us sooner rather than later? I would not hesitate to fight my Google Home if need be. At our half halfway mark on this list, and number 5 we have WOLFWALKERS, which is an Apple original. The film follows a father who is helping teach his daughter how to hunt. The pair travels to a forest in Ireland where they plan to wipe out the last pack of wolves. Of course, the movie progresses and there's magic and a totally separate, more interesting storyline, but we have to take a look at what the movie is saying when it sets the scene. As human civilization has progressed, we have created a great threat to all of our wildlife. In fact, humans have wiped out 60% of animal populations since 1970. That is insane. If you watch this movie and think about these statistics, could we be moving towards a future where we really are just hunting down and annihilating species as a whole? It's pretty scary to think about that being the future we're headed towards, but unfortunately there are people out there who really just don't care. Coming in at number 4 we have The Last Unicorn. The movie is about a unicorn who finds out that she is the last unicorn alive, and it causes her to go on a mission to find out what happened to all the others. While this movie is fairly old, there is a scene in it that really stuck out to me. At one point in the movie, the unicorn is captured and locked up in a cage. When she is set free, she decides to set free all of the other animals who were falsely imprisoned. While the animals were imprisoned, they had a spell placed on them that made them look like they were all evil and wanted to do harm, but once they're free, the spell fades. Except for one animal. Once the harpy is released, she flies above them all and begins to rain down terror and tries to kill all of the people who helped keep her imprisoned. It has me wondering, will animals one day get tired of their mistreatment and turn on us? I wouldn't blame them if they did. It's kind of like when that killer whale killed that trainer at SeaWorld back in 2010. It's just not our right to keep animals locked up in cages, and maybe 2021 is the year they fight back. Coming in at our number 3 spot, we have a Powerpuff Girls moment. We all know the Powerpuff Girls are made of sugar and spice and everything nice and a little bit of Chemical X, but in an episode called Knock It Off, we see a fake scientist steal the secret recipe and begin trying to make his own army of Powerpuff Girls for profit. When the girls we know and love find this out, they try to stop his production of creepy lookalikes, but there are so many and it's hard to differentiate who is a real Powerpuff Girl and who is fake. While the original knockoffs of the girls were created pretty decently, he starts to get lazy with their production, creating these sort of half girl, half monster things that are pretty creepy. In the end, the scientist gets killed by his own creations because they get mad at him for not loving them. While we haven't begun to clone humans yet, we do have the technology available to us. Will the first human clone be used to create evil like we saw in this episode? If we did create human clones, would they eventually turn on us? After all, they don't really need us, do they? I have a lot of questions about this one. Maybe 2021 is gonna be the year we see it happen, but I sure hope not. Headed down to number 2, we have the Sewer King from Batman. He is a man who had been shunned from society and decided to live in the sewer. He begins to train alligators and he kidnaps orphans and makes them work for him down in the sewer below Gotham City. While this creepy guy is like the Batman equivalent of Pennywise, it makes me consider, will there one day be people living below our cities that we don't even know about? I don't imagine it's an extremely comfortable place to live, but it could be possible. With how expensive rent is in some cities, maybe it really is closer than we would like to think. Does this already exist and I'm blissfully unaware? I hope not. Okay guys, and finishing off this list in our number 1 spot, we have the King Ramses curse from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Basically, the episode goes that some thieves steal an artifact from a tomb. Unbeknownst to them, the artifact is possessed by a ghost that haunts anyone who has the artifact. Kind of like those creepy Annabelle movies where that scary doll is possessed and whoever owns it is haunted by it. The reason this episode is on this list though is because earlier this year, archaeologists decided that 2020 wasn't chaotic enough and decided to open a sarcophagus from 2600 years ago. I feel like we for sure could have waited for a year that wasn't already stressful enough, but why not, right? There was even a mummy inside. While we have yet to see any effects from this unearthing, maybe 2021 is the year that it all comes crashing down. While it is pretty cool to research and see how people did things and their traditions all those years ago, there's something about messing with the dead that really stresses me out. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thank you so much for checking it out, and let me know what you think 2021 holds. I've been your host, Olivia Kozlowski, and I'll catch you next time.
Alright, look cool as you from
Look cool?
Yeah.
I can look cool. And while I wish we all had some kind of warning, in the show, these booths are mass produced, and in the show, these booths are in the show.